you're doing half the work, and half the work gets you half the results, or worse, no results at all. Whether you're someone who's tried all the manifestation techniques, listened to all the manifestation advice out there, or you're someone who just grinds it out 12 to 16 hours a day and you still feel stuck, I'm going to show you exactly what's missing and how to fix it, so moving forward, you can manifest the results that you want in your life. Piece of cake. So let me guess, person watching, you've tried the manifestation stuff. You've tried visualizations, you've tried affirmations, maybe you've made vision boards in the past. You've studied the law of attraction, you've heard of Neville Goddard, Bob Proctor, maybe even done some of those fancy Joe Dispenza meditations. You know, or maybe you've heard about identity shifting, your subconscious mind, and reprogramming your beliefs. And yet, where are the results that you want? You're still stuck at the same income level. You're still struggling with the same patterns of self-sabotage. You're still watching other people win while you spin your wheels. Or maybe you're the opposite. You don't buy into the woo-woo stuff. You're what I used to be, a hustler, a grinder, an executor. You're someone who works your ass off every single day, early mornings, late nights, putting in the hours, and yet you're exhausted and barely moving the needle. You're still not breaking through to the next level that you want. You're still feeling like you're working 10 times harder than the people who are getting better results, and that pisses you off. So here's what happens in both of those examples. You're only doing half the work, and that's why you don't have the results that you want. Hey family, welcome back. Or if you're new here, I'm Chris. I made $1 million in my business by the time I was 25, and now I'm sharing my journey and documenting what it really takes to build $1 million per year business, doing what you love, manifesting your dreams, and becoming the highest version of yourself. So if you're sick of playing small and you want to start winning at the level you know you're capable of, be sure to subscribe. Let me tell you a story about a garden just to really drive this home. Let's say we have this little garden here, these little hills, these little piles of dirt, okay? So hopefully you can see this little here, little garden. Let's just kind of box this off. So imagine that you want to grow a beautiful garden full of vegetables, fruits, and flowers, in this little garden here. You know exactly what you want to grow: vegetables, fruits, flowers, so on. So you do your research, you get the seeds, and you plant those seeds in the soil, right? So you're dropping all these little seeds in the soil, okay? They're going down into the soil. And man, you're excited, you're committed, you planted the seeds, and now they'll grow, right? But then weeks go by, and you keep looking at the ground of your garden wondering, where are all the damn plants? Why isn't anything growing? Well, I did everything right. I planted the seeds. What's the problem? Why don't I have any flowers, vegetables, or plants? And the problem is very simple, actually. You didn't water the seeds. So you're over here thinking you're going to get these nice, plants, but really they're wilted over. They're dead. You planted the seeds and then you walked away expecting them to just magically grow into this beautiful garden. But like a garden, without water, without care, without consistent action, those seeds will never become the garden that you envisioned. And this is exactly what's happening in your life and business right now. I want to talk to you about planting seeds, and I want to talk to you about watering seeds. Here's what I've realized after obsessively studying this manifestation and getting results stuff over the last 10 years. Most people try planting the seed, but they don't understand watering the seed. And planting the seed is internal action. And to make it simple, internal action is things like visualizing what you want to program into your mind, creating the internal state of already having what you want, shifting your identity or embodying a new consciousness. And this is the inner work. This is the manifestation and consciousness aspect that you've probably watched a lot of videos on. And don't get me wrong, it's absolutely necessary. You can't create something new in your external world without first creating it in your internal world. Your subconscious needs the blueprint to create something new. But like the garden, planting the seed alone isn't enough. And this introduces watering the seed, which is external action. And watering the seed or external action is executing on the vision you created, showing up as the person who already has what it is you want, and taking that aligned action every single day from the conviction that what you want is already yours. And this is the outer work, which is the execution and the actual doing the work aspect. And it's just as necessary as planting the seeds, because your subconscious doesn't just believe what you visualize or you hope for. It believes how you embody the thing, what you actually do. And I want to ask you a really powerful question, and I want you to answer. How do you know your identity has actually shifted? Now, if you've watched my videos before, you know that I teach identity shifting. And that's that idea that when you shift your identity, you will shift your reality, because you don't get what you want, you get who you are. So I want to ask you a question, and I want you to think deeply about this question. Okay, what's your answer? How do you know your identity is actually shifted? Not just mentally, not just in your visualizations, but like tangible reality. How do you know your identity is shifted? The answer is very simple. When your behavior and your results have changed. Now, I want to show you something. I'm going to draw this little flow chart for you. We've got identity, behavior, and then we have results. So think about it. How do you know what identity you're operating from right now? If your identity is the key to getting new results, then that means it's reflected, your identity is reflected in two things. How you show up, which is your behavior, your actions, your daily choices, and what you manifest, which is your results, your income, your reality. And I want to be very clear. If your behavior hasn't changed, your identity hasn't shifted. If your results haven't changed, your identity hasn't shifted. You can visualize all day long and do the internal action, but if you're still procrastinating, avoiding, self-sabotaging, you're still operating from the old identity, which means you're going to get the same old results. And also, simultaneously, you can work 16 hours a day, but if you're acting from a place of lack, fear, and desperation, you're still operating from the old identity. You need both the internal and the external action, planting and watering the seeds. Otherwise, you'll never see the harvest and get the fruit, the vegetables and the plants that you want in your garden. Now, I want to explain to you why most manifestation advice that you've found hasn't worked for you. People visualize, people affirm, and they feel the feelings, so to speak, but nothing changes because they're planting seeds without watering them. They're doing the inner work, but the outer work never follows. They're shifting their consciousness, they say, but they're not shifting their behavior. So the universe is sitting there like, cool, I see the vision, I see what you want. Now show me you're serious. Show up as the person who would have that thing. Take action from that place. But they don't. They just keep mentally masturbating and then wondering why nothing's happening. And then contrary to that, those are more the internal people, the external people, the people doing the hard work. They may hustle their asses off and they still stay stuck. I know lots of people who work hard as fuck and they have shitty results. They're spraying water all over the place in the garden, but the problem is they never planted the seeds. They're taking massive action, but they have no clear vision and they don't have an aligned identity with where they want to go. They're working from the old version of themselves, trying to create new results. That's not going to happen. So they grind, they burn out, and they wonder why they're still broke, even though they're hustling their asses off. Because hard work without the right internal state is just way harder than it needs to be. You can't outwork a misaligned identity and consciousness. By the way, if you want my help implementing both the internal and the outer work together, you can check out my free identity shifting community and training in the description. Or if you'd like my full system for stopping self-sabotage and stepping into the $10,000 to $100,000 a month version of yourself, the links are in the description below. Okay, I'm going to teach you a simple daily system so you can actually do this. I'm not a guy that just teaches theory. I teach systems that help you to get results. And this system is going to help you not only plant the seeds, but also water them so you're guaranteed to get the results that you want moving forward in your life and in your business. We're going to draw 3 blocks here. I'll explain what these mean. So the first block is M, the second block is W, the third block is N. Can you guess what these are? Well, let me tell you. The first block is M, and this is your morning. In other words, it's a block of time in your morning routine, that should last about 30 to 60 minutes total. So what this looks like for me is I wake up early, hydrate, do some movement, meditate, and during that meditation, I do 10 to 20 minutes of visualization. And that's planting the seeds. Okay, so you basically wake up, you get yourself ready, whatever you got to do. You sit down, you do your visualization, you see your ideal life and business as if it's happening right now. Feel the emotions, see the images and the kind of scenarios as if you already have what you want. Mentally rehearse yourself being the version who's already there, showing up, winning, taking action. Afterwards, journal and set your intentions for the day and review your top priorities to get shit done. This is planting the seeds, programming your subconscious with the vision and the instructions of what happens next. Then you have W. This is your deep work block, and it's going to last about 3 to 5 hours. Each morning before anything else, execute on your highest value work with complete focus. Phone on do not disturb. No distractions. Single task execution on what actually moves the needle, makes money, gets results. You're not grinding endlessly. You're executing from the seeds, the identity and the internal state and the vision you created during the visualization. You're acting as the person who already has what you want. And that's watering the seed, taking action that's aligned with your new vision, your new reality, new identity, whatever you want to call it. And then end. This is your night routine. Again, 30 to 60 minutes at night. Wind down, get ready for bed, whatever you got to do. Journal on the day, celebrate your wins. And then same thing as the morning, 10 to 20 minutes or so of visualization. Replay your ideal life. Feel grateful in advance for what's coming. Program your subconscious with instructions overnight. That's it. You plant seeds every morning and every night with your visualization, and then you water the seeds every single day with focused execution. Do this consistently for 30 days. Watch what happens. It's going to be crazy as shit. It's powerful because there's so much synergy between these two things. When you combine both of these practices, something magical happens. Your internal world and your external world begin to align. Your consciousness and your actions work together. You're congruent with the end state. As Neville says, live from the end. Live from the end. Embody what you would be like, how you would act, think, feel, so on and so forth, if you were in the end state. This little routine here, so simple, makes your subconscious and conscious mind operate as a team. You're not just thinking about your dream life and business. You're building that shit. You're planting the seeds and you're watering it. You're growing the garden. You're not just working hard with no direction. You're working hard with clarity and purpose. You're becoming someone who sees it clearly, what you want, and then does the work to make it happen. And that's when the harvest comes. That's when the results will show up. That's when your income, lifestyle, and reality will transform. Because you're finally doing the full work, not half. You're not just working hard with no direction, and you're not just mentally masturbating. You are synergizing with the most powerful system available. And my friend, here's what I know about you. You are capable of absolutely incredible things, but you've been doing half the work. You've either been planting seeds without watering them, or watering the garden, but there were never any seeds planted. You need both, and that's why you've been stuck. So starting today, commit to both. Commit to doing the inner work and the outer work. Not only planting the seeds to shift your identity and your consciousness, but then proving that you're that person through your actions. Commit to planting and watering the seeds every single day. If you do this, the garden will grow. The harvest will come. The results will show up. As the Japanese proverb says, vision without action is a daydream. Action without vision is a nightmare. Be sure to comment your takeaways down below. Subscribe if you found this video valuable. And my friend, I want to remind you, you can join my free identity shifting community and training in the description. Or if you'd like my full system for stopping self-sabotage and stepping into the $10,000 to $100,000 a month version of yourself, you can learn more about that in the description. Also, I just opened up the wait list for my one-on-one client advisory. If you want to know about the next time I open up spots for one-on-one, you can sign up for that down below. Stop doing half the work. Start doing both. Plant the seeds and water them. All right, family, much love, and I will see you in the next one.